This conference
To
will
our
now be recorded.
Ocean Ridge, our December meeting. Katrina, would you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Bessler,
Here.
Commissioner Cassidy,
Here.
Commissioner Khalil,
Here.
Vice Mayor Steve,
Here.
and Mayor Pugh.
Here. We stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. All right. Are there any additions, deletions, modifications to the agenda?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. On the agenda, we need to remove item 7, the discussion of the ARPA grant project bids. We're not ready for the commission to make a policy decision on that at this time. We also need to add a 4B under the consent agenda for the agreement authorizing the mayor and town clerk to execute the 2024 municipal election vote processing equipment use and election services agreement with the Palm Beach County Supervisor of Elections and providing an effective date.
All right. So removal number 7 and addition of the resolution 2023-15. That's 4B. All right, is there any other additions or modifications? All right, is there a motion?
Second.
All right, motion and second, any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carried. All right, presentation proclamations. Chief?
Just like to introduce everybody to two new employees. This is Officer Damon Garcia. He comes to us via the United States Army veteran and a New York City police officer retired. And he is married, one child, right? Just moved to the area. Welcome to the police department.
Yeah.
Next we have Christina Silva.
Yes.
Yes. She comes to us, she's a dispatcher, she comes to us from the private sector. She's no stranger to law enforcement. Her father is a retired major for the North Miami Beach Police Department, correct?
Yes.
So she's been around police her whole life.
Well, welcome.
And at this point, I think New York, every department in South Florida has a New York representative now.
I guess that's a good thing.
I'd like to make one more announcement. We're gonna hold a CPR class and probably in January for the citizens. We'll put something out. We have to get some more equipment. The Strawberry Group has offered to donate some more dummies and stop the bleed kit. So we're good to go.
Welcome around if you don't.
Yeah, you know, shoot around. All right. All right, Helen, you want to say something about the Lake Lights?
Yes, I just want to say a very big special thank you to this entire staff for doing such a great job for Light the Lights Friday night. It was really, really wonderful. I've heard from so many people across town how much they enjoyed it and can't thank them enough. And I'm sad that Kelly's not here because she got a huge compliment from the HOA president of Colonial Ridge, who said that he was very impressed with her professionalism, her responsiveness in taking care of the big sand issue they had down there. He just had glowing things to say about working with her. So thank you to Kelly, who's not here.
Thank you, Dana. All right, let's move on to our announcements. The meeting schedule for the next month is as follows. We have a regular town commission meeting on Monday, January 8th at 6 p.m. Community standards on Tuesday, December 5th, 2023 at 10 a.m. A planning and zoning meeting on Tuesday, December 19th at 9. A board of adjustment meeting tentatively on Wednesday, December 20th at 9. All meetings are held in commission chambers of the town hall. Also, town hall will be closed Monday, December 25th in observance of Christmas and Monday, January 1st, 2024 in observance of the new year. Residents who wish to sign up to receive important town notifications and news through Civic Ready should sign up on the town's website or call town hall for assistance. Now ready for public comment. Anybody with anything to say tonight? If it's not on the agenda, you're welcome to come on.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
The community standards hearing for tomorrow has been canceled. The case came into compliance. It's on the agenda.
And I actually have a question. This P and Z meeting will be the last one with David Hutchins on P and Z.
Correct.
Come January, they'll be down to 4. Is that a functioning board, Christie?
Oh, yeah, because we can just bring one of the alternates up and create a form. Stella, we're on public comment if you want to say anything.
Sorry, I'm late.
Okay.
I would like to say something really nice.
I figured.
We're gonna call up Terry, see if he can come in.
Well, Terry's not here.
I saw him on the car.
I was almost gonna park in his parking space, there's no spaces to park. But I just wanted to thank the town, I guess I should turn around, Stella Kolb, 204 Beachway.
Gotta hit
Press
the,
the button.
You know, you
No,
can
it's
speak,
not connected.
you can speak loud enough. Go ahead.
Okay. I just wanted to thank the town, you had a lovely, lovely affair on Light the Lights. Everybody who was here, I appreciated the town staff. It was very well put together, and we all had a good time, and there must have been at least 150 people that I counted. And that's all I wanted to say, and I wish everybody a happy holiday.
Thank you, Sarah. Anyone else? This is the reverse bias public comment.
I don't get
So,
Good evening, I'm Maurice Ocean Avenue.
thank you.
And I also think that the Light the Lights was an extraordinary adventure. But I had something else on my mind. I think we've got to do something about the bicyclists. Several examples. I saw 12 bicyclists stop at the red light. I've seen many of them go through. When they went through, I noticed there was a cop car right behind them. It's the only one of those packs that I've seen stop. We've got to find a way to catch them, because somebody's going to get hurt. Really.
Thank you, Betty. All right, anyone else? All right. Closing public comment. Moving on to the approval of the consent agenda. Is there a motion?
Second.
Motion and second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Motion carried. All right, moving on to our regular agenda items. Number 5, consider proposal to complete required EAR and evaluation and comprehensive plan updates. Christie? Or Lynn? How about you, Lynn?
I can do it, just give me one moment. Sorry about that. The town is required under state law to complete the evaluation and appraisal process related to the current comp plan and with the results of the EAR draft and adopt any necessary changes. At the last meeting, we heard from one of the bidders. The meeting prior to that, we heard from the other. In order to give them both the opportunity to respond to any questions that the commission has, it has been put on the agenda again this evening for you with both of the bidders here. The proposal from Chen Moore and Associates and Aaron Deedy is a 2-phase, with the first phase not to exceed $35,000, the second phase not to exceed $15,000. The second is for an amendment to our current contract for planning services. The scope would complete the EAR evaluation and all the work required by statute, not to exceed $30,000, billed at an hourly rate of $145 per hour. Nilsa and Aaron are both here, as well as Corey O'Gorman. I don't know if you'd like them each to come up individually and talk about their proposals again, or if you all have specific questions for both.
Well, let's start with Corey's, because Corey, you were no-show last week. We know you have an excuse, so let's hear it.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners, my apologies for last month's meeting. I am here with Jim Fleischman, Land Research Management. Jim and I have worked on a number of projects over the last 20 years, including a comprehensive plan in Newport Beach, code work in Boynton Beach, South Palm Beach Shores, and several others in in the Lake Worth area. We did provide a supplement to the proposal that's in your agenda packet. And Jim is, at least by my way of thinking, the expert in comprehensive planning. And I'd like to introduce him to just touch on briefly the supplement that we provided.
Okay.
Thanks, Corey, Mayor, and members of the commission, Jim Fleischman, Land Research Management. The proposal that we initially submitted was essentially a detailed list of all of the steps necessary to go from start to finish to do the evaluation and appraisal report and the comprehensive plan amendments related to that report. Now that did not have a lot of detail in it in terms of what specific work that we anticipated. And the primary reason for that is that the actual scope of services is to be decided between the town and the state of Florida when we submit our initial letter. So some of the detail, or most of the detail, will be decided then. Now, after the meeting, Manager Ladner asked us if we wanted to submit some additional information over and above our general scope, which we did, and that I submitted that via an email response, which is part of your agenda. And I can very briefly just run through the 7 items we have, if you'd like.
Please.
Yeah. There was some discussion of public meetings. We're going to have a minimum of 3, and we certainly can have more than that. And since the last meeting, I had a chance to take a look at the EAR document that was done in 2019, and I think that was a really good format. And I think that we're probably going to pretty much follow the same format that was in that document, which will help us expedite the process since the format is already established. We're going to update the population projections. The current plan uses population projections prepared by the University of Florida. This time we are proposing that we use projections prepared by Palm Beach County, which will better allow the town to coordinate with other planning programs in the county. We're going to update as necessary maps and data tables that are in that 2019 document. We're going to add a new element to the comprehensive plan, the property rights element, which is the new requirement of the state statutes that all municipalities have to have that element. And I've had experience in writing that element for 3 other cities. So that should be a relatively simple task. We're going to update the water supply plan. One of the interesting things that I noticed when I was going through the 2019 update to the plan was that the total number of pages in that plan is 90. And the water supply plan encompasses 46 of those 90 pages. And it's almost entirely taken directly out of Long Beach's water supply plan. Now, the state has come up with a different methodology for small municipalities to update that plan, and I think we can do that in 2 to 3 pages rather than 46. And I also am suggesting that we take the 5-year schedule of improvements out of the comprehensive plan and put that into the town's annual budget process. That's an option that's available so that when you update that schedule of improvements, you don't have to go through a comprehensive plan amendment process. And it's something that you would look at every year and is more helpful in attaining grants if you do it that And as far as the coastal management element goes, that's a very, very detailed list of items that need to be in the comprehensive plan per the state statutes. And looking through the 2019 plan, I believe that the town's already done a pretty good job on that. And our proposal for that is essentially to include some of the recommendations out of the town's recent engineering study, and also take a look at incorporating recommendations out of the county's local mitigation strategy. That is in the process of being updated right now, and it should be done in 2024, in time for us to incorporate recommendations from that into the town's EAR. And that's essentially the 7 items that I detailed in that memo. And I'll be available for any questions for sure.
Okay.
Any questions? Could you just, I didn't catch this movement from comprehensive plan to the budget and how that affects how the town operates. Because it like we're having right now discussions about our water system.
Well, every capital improvements element based on the original Florida statutes has to have a 5-year schedule of improvements in its capital improvements element. Now, whenever you go for grants, most of the grant applications want to see how capital improvements are addressed in the comprehensive plan. Most municipalities don't update that 5-year schedule of improvements every year. Maybe the town does it, but I would be surprised, because that requires a full comprehensive plan amendment every single year. The state recently has given municipalities a different option. They can take it out of the comprehensive plan and include it as part of the town's annual budget process. So you don't have to go through the comprehensive plan amendment process. You can just adopt it as part of your budget.
So we can now use the budget instead of the comprehensive plan as backup for our asking.
Yeah, that's right. So my suggestion is to just delete the 5-year schedule of improvements out of the comprehensive plan and include references linking the capital improvements element to the town's budget process.
Didn't that change from 5 years to 10 years? The requirement for presenting a capital improvement plan?
No, not the 5-year schedule of improvements. You have to have a minimum 10-year planning frame, I guess. Like the date of your future land use has to at least be 10 years into the future. And in a lot of the policies that you come up with, written policies, could or could not be related to that time frame, but the schedule of improvements is still 5 years.
Okay, and with these changes that you've provided, and thank you for that, is there an associated increase in your estimated cost? Because you had said 30,000, not to exceed 30,000.
Right. Well, all of these items were actually a consideration in our original proposal as work items that we were going to do. We just didn't list them. We didn't get into specific work items in our original proposal. We just said, these are the different steps we have to go through to get to the end.
And we had been talking about this deadline out there of April 24. What exactly is due by April 24? Is it just the year?
Well, as far as I know, you need to get in touch with the state relatively soon, like in January or February, I think, to make a proposal as to what the town wants to do or feels that it needs to do in this EAR process. Once that letter is submitted, the state has the opportunity to say, okay, that's fine, go ahead and do it. well, okay, that's good, but we also want you to do this. And that's part of the reason why our proposal was a little sketchy, I guess, if you will, was because we don't really know what the state is going to say in terms of additional items over and above what we propose. But then we usually have about a year or so to go ahead and complete the EAR process and the comprehensive plan amendments that go along with it. But there really are no penalties now for not doing it according to that schedule. The greatest penalty that they used to have was that you couldn't do any comprehensive plan amendments until you did this one first. Okay, they recently changed that to say that privately initiated amendments can be processed by the town. It's just that the town can't process its own generated amendments until that's done. So I mean, there is a schedule, and they have that little hand slap, and that's about it now.
Thank you.
Sure.
Good, Phil.
So you're saying the 3 public hearings were already in your proposal?
Well, yes, because those are required. There's one with the local planning agency, and there's 2 with the town council.
Oh, so okay, so you're not talking about introducing the public, because I think CMA is talking about having the public come in on their own,
well,
like a separate meeting.
And that's perfectly fine. If you want to have, for example, we have to write that initial letter to the state saying, okay, these are the issues that we would like to address, and these are the issues that we have to address per state statutes. You could have a public meeting at that point to see if the public wants a couple other issues that we didn't think about, or the council didn't think about addressing the plan. So we aren't limited by the number of meetings in our proposal.
Okay, so if you suggested that we have 2 other public meetings, that's all you're going to be talking about. It's not going to be voted on or anything. People are just going to give you ideas. That would be in the price.
Yes. Okay. No, I really think it's a good idea to have at least one of those, but before we send our letter up to the state, to have kind of like an open forum. These are a couple issues that the town would like to see us cover in the plan.
Okay, my second question is, you're going to be able to do that in 6 months, but CMA is going to take 15 months. So that seems like such a big discrepancy in time frames. Why can you do it so quickly? And I'll ask them, why does it take them that long?
Oh, well,
because what I'm saying is, you've got 2 commission meetings, right? So they've got to be a month apart. Then you're going to have these private meetings, and then you're going to have planning and zoning prior to that. There's gaps in that time frame. So how does that all get smooshed into 6 months?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'll be the first one to admit that if we toss some more public meetings in there, and those public meetings result in some additional work that we weren't anticipating. I'm not saying that we would charge the town more for it, but that might take some more time. And like I said, the time frame is really no big deal because there's no penalties if we don't get it done by the time frame that the state will establish. And for example, I'm doing this same exercise with Loxahatchee Groves right now, and we just got through 12 months of public workshops. 9 workshops with the council and 3 with the planning and zoning board, which put our time substantially beyond the time frame that the state was looking for. But the only penalty is that the town cannot initiate any more comprehensive plan amendments until we do that first. So I certainly am one for trying to meet timeframes that we established. However, if we can do a better job for the town by extending it, there's really no penalties. So I mean, that's our goal is to do it that quickly. And like I said originally, we have the model of the 2019 EAR update that was done by Urban Design Studio, which I think they did a great job. And I think that we can follow that format and essentially use that as a document that we will edit and update, which will make the job go quicker in my mind.
Okay, one more question, you brought it up, is why did urban design do it and not place planning do it the last time in 2019? Like, you're doing it now, but you're not.
That'd be a Corey question.
Yeah, that's a Corey question.
Mayor, the reason for that was we weren't the town planner at the time. That was done prior to our engagement with the town.
Okay.
All right, any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Didi? Good evening.
Good evening, the mayor, vice mayor, council members, Nilson Zacharias, principal with Chenwood and Associates, and with me here is Erin Didi of her own firm. Just to clarify, we presented last time in November we did a PowerPoint, we went step by step, so the same proposal stands exactly as you have in your package. And at the time, I think you recall, I also brought a finished product, a large binder that I pass around, so you can see how it would look, the finished product. I just would like to clarify also something, that was the question that what is due in April. So as part of the proposal, task 3, the consultant will prepare the evaluation and operation notification letter to the State Land Planning Agency. The subject letter is due to the state on April 1st. So that is what is due in April, the notification letter. However, I really commend the town that is looking into if you are going to write a letter, and if you already know that you would like to update the comprehensive plan, then the best advice is what you're doing now, start early. Because once you send the letter in April, the state will give you 1 year to submit the adopted. And as you know, that takes more than 12 months to fully update a comprehensive plan. So let's say now in December, if the consultant starts in January, it will have the benefit of those additional months. So if the letter, when the state receives the letter in April, will say, yes, the town would like to update the comprehensive plan. But you already started, so you will be able to, submit the adopted plan in 1 year. Many times, municipalities, they decide, oh, we want to update, but they decide the last minute. And it's pretty much impossible to update in 1 year because all the public hearings, the public workshops and all of that. So that's one part that I wanted to further clarify. Also, with regard to the coastal management, we would like to further provide you more information, please.
Sure. I agree with your other proposer about the use of the county's local mitigation strategy. That is something that is ongoing right now, and the county is required to look at all different types of hazards associated with that. It's a very project-oriented kind of document. They solicit project ideas from the other municipalities, and that is what they ultimately transmit off. But the town of Ocean Ridge was a participant in the climate change vulnerability assessment with other local government jurisdictions, and I would submit to you that that's probably the best available data that you have right now regarding current and future flood risk, and that would be something that would be really important. And the different types of issues that you may want to consider associated with that is your shoreline policy. Many local governments right now are looking at their seawall heights. The city of Delray Beach, for example, recently adopted a new ordinance requiring higher seawall heights, and that is something I think that is going to be very appropriate, and not everybody may be on board with a policy like that within the town of Ocean Ridge. I've seen that play out in other local government jurisdictions. So there may be some stickier issues if you want to reflect that type of policy within your comprehensive plans. I just wanted to give you that update and let you know that there is probably some other data that could be considered, especially with regard to the coastal management element. But I would agree with the previous speaker in terms of the water supply plan and the update. Your service provider is this town of, or the city of Boynton Beach, so you would obviously engage with them and kind of ride on their coattails with their data development to make that process more efficient. But it's really about you and what you want with this scope of work, and whether you see this as an opportunity to address some of these other policies that other local governments are kind of chewing on right now in their comp plan updates, or whether you want to do something that is more key towards just meeting the 163 statutory requirements for comp plans.
Any questions?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
The first one is, same question, 6 months to 15 months. So what's the big difference?
Yeah, definitely. One of the big difference is task number 4, public workshops. Once we engage the public, as you know, and this is above and beyond the public hearings that are required by Florida statutes. And that's part of the additional months, but again, if we start like in January, you will have your proposal. You will meet you have to submit April 1, 2025. That's your final deadline to submit the adopted comprehensive plan. And definitely you can meet that. However, let's say the town would like to consolidate more. We can definitely see very easily 9 months. If you see in the proposal, we are here on time. Phase 1, 9 months. Phase 2, 6 months. We can definitely shorten up those timelines also. But I think the big important item here is the public engagement, the public workshops. If this gonna be a meaningful, comprehensive plan, is so important to listen to the resident, to propose them. First of all, the purpose of those public workshops is to inform the residents. These are the different problems or issues, challenges that the town might be facing in the short-coming, middle, and long term. And then, what do you think about this? What are your considerations? So our job is, number 1, to present information to the residents, and number 2 is to listen and their feedback, and channel that into this document.
Next question. Why do you think you're 66% higher than the other guys?
Well, you just mentioned is the amount of time in the public workshops that we included from day 1 into this process. We understood that and that's just our consideration, that we understood that the town wanted to listen to residents, and that's part of the increase of the fee. And also, please note, we are Erin Beatty and Chen Moore and Associates. Erin is one of the lead forces here in Palm Beach County with regard to sea level rise, coastal management. That's also the reason.
Okay, do you know what your hourly rate rate is, the average that you put in the proposal? They're saying 145. Do you know what yours is?
Do you want?
I don't know what you're reading.
Yes, so let me mention for Chenwood and Associates, I am 230 hours, hourly rate, but also the senior planner is 120, the associate planner is 75 per hour. So those are the three, and definitely we will, the three of us, the associate planner, which actually she will be preparing the GIS maps. Then the senior planner, which is 120, and myself, which I perform all the quality control. So the combination of all of these is part of the proposal that we put together for your consideration.
Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you very much. All right, let's play the commission.
Definitely want to hear from you.
You want to hear from me?
Yeah.
I am, now I think that, first of all, we control the time frame in terms of how much or how little that process is going to entail, right? Our town is very limited. Some cities and some other towns have a lot more, they have commercial, they have a lot more other issues that are pressing that would cause more public input, more meetings, more involvement in the planning process. We have a very limited situation here. I think I've been through a few of them previously. So, I don't think, I want to create something that scope, while we have utility issues, we have other issues, but a lot of the issues we don't have. So we don't necessarily need that long time frame, that 15 months or whatever. So I wouldn't get hung up on the time frame. I do agree with them about whatever penalties are associated with it. It's not much. A lot of cities still don't have their comp plans. A lot of them are late in it. That's not uncommon. For our purposes, I think Chen Moore Associates did a great proposal. Thank you very much. I'm just looking at the need and what would be beneficial to our town. And since Corey has experience and Jim with respect to the experience there, and with Christie, I think I'm very comfortable with those guys, with that team and with the town manager to accomplish the objective that we need, and I'm very comfortable with that. So I don't want to create more than is necessary, quite frankly.
Any other commissioner comments? All right, now to the public, any public comment? All right, back to the commission. All right, so
In the past, just this differentiating between a workshop versus a hearing, what has the town done before?
I think we did 3 workshops, didn't we, Ken? I think we did 3 workshops, and then we did 2 commission meetings on. The first workshop was very well attended, and the second workshop was moderate, and the third workshop, there was 2 people in the whole audience. So that's kind of how it goes, because like Ken was saying, there's not a lot
Right.
in our comprehensive plan, so we really hit the meat of the issue right off the bat, such as the water lines.
And I think a workshop's important too.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah. No,
Oh,
I
yeah.
wouldn't say not to. You have to.
They have to, like,
Right?
the state statute.
But what is it, workshops are good, but you have to have a plan going into the workshop. And what are you going to discuss? And other things might come up from the public, other ideas, which are good and good to entertain. But we have a finite situation here. We're, for the most part, built out. Our public access and public parks and public lands are finite.
Population static.
Yeah, I mean, it's really can we talk about sea ride? Absolutely. Down a seawall, all that stuff. We should be talking about that regardless of whether there was a comprehensive plan. But, all that, the workshops are, but we don't need the extent that some cities and some towns have to go through. I don't think.
All right, so you're hearing that, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion
Do you have a
to,
vote for public comment?
I already did public comment.
I'm sorry, I missed it.
Jerry, come on. What's that? I gave a long lead time.
Sorry, Jack, I didn't move quickly enough. Is this on?
No, you turn it off.
You turn it off.
Red.
How about now? So in my other life, I'm the chairman of the Planning and Zoning Board in Rainy Breezes. And I have to tell you about one interaction that I've had with one of the representatives here. Aaron Deedy helped us through our last revisions of this section of our comp plan that had to deal with sea level rise, armoring the intercoastal, all of those water-related issues. She's got incredible experience from doing work in the Keys. She went through a challenging set of meetings with us, and she has a level of expertise on water-related issues. I can't speak to the rest of it, but she's an ideal candidate for us if we consider water-related issues as part of our big challenges for the next decade. Thank you.
Thanks. Yes, sir.
Over?
No, go on, come on, public comment.
All right. I had one comment.
Your name and address for the record.
Nicholas Arshadi, 6017 Old Ocean. My comment had to do with, I looked at the proposal, and one of them had a task 14. And I'm wondering, which is not included in the price, in the proposal, the 30,000. Anything that the city knows that's going to be under that task 14, which is going to increase the price?
That's probably a question for Corey, right?
Well, it's not a question and answer period. Liam, what would you say?
That would be if, once we're all finished, if the town down the road wants to do additional comp plans and use Mr. Fleshman and Mr. Gorman for additional, those would be not included in the 30,000. So we get to the end of the process and we're ready to adopt the comp plan and it's adopted. And then a month later we go, oh wait, we want to make a change. That would be an additional request for additional amendments down the road.
Okay. Did that answer your question?
Yes. Thank you.
Anyone else? You sure? All right, back to the commission.
I do agree that if there is some specific knowledge, Aaron, I know you've done a great job in the past on certain environmental issues in the past here for our town. So I don't have an issue at some point in time, whether it's Aaron or maybe Christie's firm has some people that if there's some specialized knowledge that we need to employ, by certain we should. You know, in the past, when we had Lewis Longman, they had it all built in. We had all that information with one firm. And I don't know what Christie's firm is, quite frankly, what environmental component and that experience is there, but certainly I would not be opposed to outsourcing some other ideas or some other requirements that may be needed. But that would happen regardless of what proposal that we would have. Things come up. So with that in mind, I think given our planner is Corey, and there was an experience there, and I think he has some running knowledge of what's been going on with the town, so I do make a motion to go ahead and proceed with their proposal.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
I'm just torn because I heard Aaron speak first at flooding workshop with the county in June, and I was very impressed. So I agree with Ken that we should keep it top of mind.
For other projects, yes, totally agree.
Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you.
You know,
Thank
just
you
as
both.
a side note, we probably should, of all the things that we have, and again, Chrissy, if you have it in your firm, so be it. We should have an environmental attorney in the planning in case we need, because that's what we are. We've always had it, and I don't know why we got away from that, but we should probably seek out proposals for that if Chrissy's firm can't handle it.
Mr. Mayor, we do have some folks that are environmentally involved, but I believe Ms. Dee would be much more of an expert, especially in the planning arena, than anyone in our firm. So,
Well, Ms. Dee, it looks like we'll be calling you pretty soon, once we start on this process. Thank you so much. All righty,
Thank you, all of you.
thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, discussion regarding future operations for the building department.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As we come to the end of 2023, we've seen significant changes to the Ocean Ridge Building Department. In 2023, we have transitioned from having a building official on staff, a part-time building inspector, plan reviewer, and a building clerk to having a contracted building official, no part-time inspector or plan reviewer, while maintaining the building clerk on staff. We have also struggled with implementing new building department software due to delays in the termination and release of the contract for software with Tyler Technologies. Though the commission has authorized the contract for new software once the Tyler contract termination is complete, I believe that before we fully move forward with signing that contract, the commission consider with public input the direction that they would like the department to go as we move forward. Things to be considered that are listed below, but is obviously not a comprehensive list. The building official, does the commission want to continue moving forward with this position contracted out to a third party, or should we consider a renewed effort to recruit an internal building official? Some of the challenges that we have with having a contracted building official is that we don't have any office hours when contractors or property owners want to discuss something with the building official. The availability of the building official for development plan review meetings, planning and zoning meetings, board of adjustment meetings, as well as the building official not always remembering to verify the town's codes when reviewing building applications to ensure that more than just the standard Florida building code is being applied. Do we want to consider contracting with another municipality for building official and inspection services while retaining internal records and keeping the clerk's services? I have reached out to one community. They are not sure that it is something that they could take on at this time if we did an intergovernmental contract. That doesn't mean there aren't other communities, anywhere from Manalapan, Lantana, Lake Worth, that we might be able to contract with, or there may not. But that is one option that we could do. It would eliminate the need for us to contract for software, as most of those building departments already have their own building department software. But as we would be retaining records here, we would want to retain the building clerk here. With the current model of a contracted building official, internal software, and a clerk, is the commission okay with bringing on an additional contract building clerk? Right now, with the part-time individual having left the community and a lot of the additional work falling on the clerk and the deputy clerk, we really need additional staff in the building department. The part-time inspector reviewer was assisting with the building clerk's duties. And as we go into election season, as well as just moving forward, the clerk's department really has more than enough of their own duties without taking on the responsibilities of the building department. And under the contract of the current model, is the commission okay with moving forward with the contract for new software for the building department? Based on the most recent discussion with the company that we are looking at, it would take as much as 12 months to complete that implementation. So those are just some very high-level major decisions that we need input on. How do we want to continue operating the building department moving forward? And, where do we go from here? Do we want to consider alternatives to the way we're doing it, or continue with how we've sort of landed and way things are going?
All right, let's do these in order.
Wait.
Before you do more.
I have a view on this now. I mean, it's like throwing up a Hail Mary here. Here it is, figure it out, right?
No, this, I'm
Don't
looking
take
for
offense to
direction.
this.
No, I'm
Okay,
looking
no,
for
no, no,
direction.
But we need more direction in terms, we cannot possibly go down this list and make an informed decision on any of this information unless we know or have some idea or some concept of what a plan possibly could be, what are the impacts. For us just to sit up here and tell you, no, we don't want to do this, no, we don't want to do that, without knowing what the ramifications and what the impact of that is going to be, is asinine, quite frankly.
Well, I could positively say I do not want building department recreated. We created that monster
But
in 2015, and look where we ended up in 2022.
I understand, but what is being told to us, and I don't disagree with you, but I am open-minded to the extent that I want to hear, if we have a problem, what is the problem we need to solve? And if you're telling us by not having a building official here, we have this problem A, then okay, how are we gonna solve that problem, or do we in fact need? So as much as I may be not like, and I kind of like having the third-party system, I'm still open-minded. I want to hear, okay, what are the pros and cons, and what's happening? What are the costs associated with it? What's the potential plan? And I've said this for 3 meetings, I know, that I thought if the planning and zoning can't do it, I've said this, that they should be reviewing that department and seeing what we need. I know I said that in June, and I know I've said it a few months since then, a few times since then. And so I think we need more information. I think this commission, I'm gonna be off the commission, but I think this commission would be well-served to have more information of what are the options. We come in and tell us, okay, we need to buy this software. We go along with it. Now we're saying, well, maybe, there's gonna be other impacts to that. So what are the facts?
But,
Well, I
so,
think,
the big question,
wait a second. I think what Lynn was doing with this, I agree with what you're saying. But I think also she was just looking for a little bit of consensus to where she can build on top of that consensus and come back to us with more of a plan on what the building department is going to be like.
But wouldn't it make sense for our planning and zoning department, whose sole function is to advise us on those types of situations, and that to come to discuss that at their level?
Generally, planning and zoning commissions do absolutely no recommendations or advising on the internal roles and actions of the building department. I've never seen that in any community.
Well, I tell you what, I disagree with you, number one. Number two is, our planning and zoning is an expanded planning and zoning. We have tasked the planning and zoning with different tasks and different requirements over the years. Not by my doing, by this commission's doing necessarily. So understanding what the quasi role is of the planning and zoning, it's a little greater than your typical their architectural review, they deal with the building inspector, they deal with the building official. So they're intimately, theoretically, involved in that process, or should be more so than what this commission has been. So what I would like to see is either they go through that process, or we workshop it and see and hear from you, what are the pros and cons? What are the costs and benefits, pros and cons for going a certain path or not going a certain path? So we have a full understanding, and then you could go down this list and say, where do we want to go? Where do we see it go?
Well, this just further highlights the need for that workshop, with planning and zoning to happen.
Where you have to have information, going into a workshop, you have to have information.
but I think what Lynn is trying to get, and I keep bringing this up, there are lots of questions underneath the question, is the building department gonna play football or play baseball? That's what Lynn's asking us. Do we want to grow the building department? Do we want to return to a building official where it took 3 to 6 months to get anything accomplished versus right now it's 3 weeks, okay? We've tried this, we've done it, it didn't work. We're also told when we hired building officials and created the building department that we're gonna save $95,000 a year in outside contracts. Of course, that never happened, and we just added what do we end up at, 150 in salary plus benefits?
Something like that, yes.
Yeah. So the big question we can address at this meeting, all the other questions, the software, et cetera. Yeah, but Lynn can't move forward on any substantial investigation till she knows that the commission wants us to have a building official. I'm a dead set no against it.
Yeah, but I think we still have to have all the options. We put the
Yeah,
options down, have the
options
pros and cons,
underneath
because
Having
when
no building official.
it was the same thing. We were supposed to save money when we went for contracting. We were saving money. But when I mentioned that to Lynn, when I saw this, she then gave me all the negatives. You know, it's, they have to show up, you know, they have to be open to the public. That's not contracted in with them, right? So that's all extra money. So let's put all let her put all the options on the table, give us the financial impact, give us the pros and cons, and that's it. I mean, you're dead set against the building
Well,
person, but.
Another consideration, it's not just what we think, it's what does the community think? And I can tell you, I get dozens of phone calls about people, about their building permits. By and large, the community is much more satisfied with Mike than they were with Jerome. We have turned a corner, and the experience, all in all, has been much more positive. And I know it's the whole department, but largely due to Mike.
With all due respect, Ken, the question was asked, she was asking us a question regarding, do we want this for the building department? Now, I respect the planning and zoning, but also the experience that we've all had here is one big question on what experience have we had through the private, like we did when we first got on the commission, when we used to have the county as our inspection. We then had hybrid, who we have now.
Well, no, let's go back a step.
So wait a second, let me finish.
You missed it.
And then we had Gary Lankford. So the thing about it is that then we hired this new guy, and now you can bring all the paperwork, and the one thing I find that you seem to be as against and stuff is we seem to have way too many employees in the town. When we hired this building official, all of a sudden we needed a building official. Then we had an assistant building official, right? Because we had and then we had another new car, which you've never used. So it gets out of control. It becomes its own little fight.
Of that, by the way.
But I guess my point is that Lynn is just basically looking at consensus here to say, do we or do we not want to look at a in-house building official? I mean, that's really the one basic question. And through the history of the fact that we didn't have one in the last 10 years, again, not in the last 20 years, and then we had one, and now we don't again. And the difference between having the private server and then having the in-house and now having a private server again is night and day. The private server, literally, at that point, he knows, I would think there's more incentive as a private server to do well to the town's residents than an in-house person, because that in-house person tends to get complacent in their job. And once they get complacent in their job, they don't serve the public as well as they should serve the public, because they forget who's really paying them, and it's us, the public. So going back to this building official, no and no, in my opinion. No. Now, I'm gonna just go down the line, because I think it is something that I'm giving you my opinion. I think that's all she's asking. Do we want to contract on the municipality in inspection services and retaining internal records, keeping and clerk services? No. Again, there's no reason for us to do that. I think that the town, yes, we're growing and we're building, but there is a certain amount of building we do every single year, and it's kind of pretty steady. So, no. And with the current model, is the commission okay to bring in an additional contract building clerk? Absolutely. And the reason being is because it's all about the paperwork. And unfortunately, at Town of Ocean Ridge, that's all we have. Do you realize that this town, they still write out a paper receipt when you come in and give a check for the building permit? Now, how ridiculous is that?
Only till next month.
Okay, so we're in the 21st century, and we're still filling out paper receipts. So another building clerk is going to help move everything along. And I really believe it's
Isn't wasn't this, maybe I got the wrong name for this position, but didn't Hybrid give us a building clerk? She had to move and they were going to bring someone on their company to then send to us as the assistant clerk.
That is currently the plan, but I want to make sure everybody on the commission is okay doing that as a long-term situation, not just
Absolutely,
a short-term.
Hybrid literally came in, and Mike Crisfield is the owner of Hybrid. And he basically said, look, I'll come in and do this contract for you guys. And he would do it all, they do the inspections. But the caveat was for him to come in here, he had to be a building official. Now, he owns the company. So we have the owner of the company being our building official. Does he need to be here every day? No. Does he answer questions? Yes. Sometimes it's a little hard to get? Yes. But does every question, an emergency, he needs to answer right then and now? No. So again, we have to remember, we are still a small town. And I think we did the experiment. It completely failed. And so this is my opinion. And the rest of the commission can put their consensus out, that when you do come back and bring back what we want to do here with building is basically kind of leave it as it is, as it's going now, because literally, like you said, the compliments that we get now, guys is very well. He has discretion. He uses his discretion. He doesn't make a mountain out of a molehill. He doesn't treat people like, you're doing him a favor by letting him come and inspect your property, or her, or whomever we have that is in-house. So if you bring that back, and then the last thing regarding the software, I'm touchy about the software because every time we seem to get software,
Didn't
Can I ask
we
a question
never
about
just
that?
do this with software?
We had this lengthy discussion during the whole budget process about BSNA.
Right.
And they're state of the art and they can.
And it is, but it will take 12 months to implement. So I want to make sure that whatever direction we're going with the building department is to keep us.
But
Well, we're
BSNA
trusting you on the BSNA because you really
Because you
given
gotta
us
bring
a
all that
brain
back.
cell this summer.
Right, and I am still 100% for BSNA, but it is a large expenditure. So knowing,
So
I'm sorry. I'm missing something here. I guess I am missing something. While I agree with what you're saying about my own view about how it's going, because I know the history, I know when we've had individuals, I know when we've had the county, I know when we've had our own, we know when we subbed it out, everything else. So I get all that. And that gets in the process. But Lynn, you're coming in here, and this is not an attack on you, but it's a management issue, in my view. And you should come in with what the plan is. What is your proposal? What are the issues that we're having? Are you hearing something? We went through that lengthy discussion of the software. We went off it. I'm getting the sense that it's a problem. So what is the problem?
The software isn't a problem. I just want to make sure that if the town invests in the software, that 6 months from now, when we're in the middle of that contract, we're not going to decide as part of the FY25 budget that all of a sudden we want to bring, we want to contract out with another municipality and we don't need it.
Why wasn't that brought up when we were talking about it at the beginning?
Because at the time, we had Rob, who was still a part-time inspector. We had only a few months working with Hybrid and seeing how things were going. I don't want to make those kind of decisions or recommendations until we've got a good working relationship with a contractor. I'm happy with things the way they are with Hybrid, but there are other options, and I want to make sure the commission was aware of the other options. Other option being contracting with another municipality or going back the same route of bringing it in.
Thank you. And with those options, what are the pros and cons so that we can make an informed decision?
Pros and cons of bringing someone back in as a building official is they would be here available for office hours. They would be available for all of those meetings, and there would not be any question about whether they're enforcing the town's section and amendments to the Florida Building Code, because they would have them. They would only be dealing every day with Ocean Ridge. So everything review would be reviewed from the Ocean View lens. They wouldn't be going from jurisdiction to jurisdiction.
And there's an associated cost.
There is an associated cost. That is the con. The negative side is there is a substantial cost to getting a good building official, plus you've got the benefits that go on top of that. Building officials are in short supply all over the country, and therefore they command a premium when it comes to salary. Going with the situation that we have now with the building official contracted out is working well. We are saving money because at the same time that we had an internal building official, we also still contracted out almost 80% of our inspections. Now, we still are doing the contracted inspections, but we aren't paying 2 individual employees to be the building official and the part-time inspector and plan reviewer. So it's going well. However, with the contract building official, he doesn't have the on-site office hours for residents and builders to come talk to about their plans, and he's not necessarily available for those meetings with development plan review, planning and zoning, and board of adjustment. If we were to contract with a third party, with another municipality, we would not need software because they would already have their software and their systems and policies and procedures in place. Our applications would still come here. They would be uploaded to their systems. They would go through all of their application review process and approve them, and then send them back to Ocean Ridge for final issuance. So we would still need building clerks here handling all of the paperwork on this end. That would be a set intergovernmental contract. We would be beholden to, in most cases, adopting their fee structures, and in most cases, any amendments that they've made versus amendments that we've made. So those are the cons. The pros are it could potentially save us money.
Okay, and what is the viability of that? And, you know, where is that option? Who is it with?
I spoke to Highland Beach. They have taken on Gulfstream currently, and right now they're not sure whether they could take on a third jurisdiction.
So that may not be viable.
That may not be viable with Highland Beach. That does not mean that Lantana or Manalapan or Lake Worth or possibly even Green Acres would not be able to take it on. Now, that would be sending our applications further away than Highland Beach.
Why would we do that?
Because
I'm forcing the issue.
I don't know why we're still discussing.
You know
We
why?
don't want to do
Because, quite frankly, you have, in my view, in order to make informed decisions, you have to have an understanding of what it is. So as she's explaining this, aren't you getting a better idea of maybe what we need to do or not do? Because she
Well, we have-
explained that.
but we do have a
lived
discussion.
But she sends a letter, right? She does a memo and she's telling us and saying that I'm sensing an issue. That's what I get from this. First time, you didn't say that everything was going well, because now she did, but that's not how it started out.
Okay, so we can agree on that. Can we move on then?
Yes.
And I only have one question.
Yes.
The 12-month software, is that because our employees don't have time to be trained? What could possibly take software 12 months?
Because that is how far out they're scheduling implementation right now. They are so busy doing implementations all around the country. We have our finance and HR software implementation in January. We have been on the books with BS&A for 12 months to get that going, and we're moving forward. The final implementation is in January.
So is that the one where residents can go and look at their permits online instead of?
No, that would be the community development. That would be the next module, which they would not be
12
able,
months from now?
yeah, that would be 12 months from now.
Wow.
Because it's taking that long because they have that many customers.
Did they tell us that before?
Not when we were in the budget process.
Thank you.
And we got to a great level of comfort because it was really strongly, recommended by
Right.
Lynn. But now we're.
And I'm
wait,
still-
there's something wrong that we don't know.
No, I'm still 100% for the software, but I don't want to invest in that if 6 months from now, when we're doing the FY25 budget, I have 5 commissioners to say, you know what, it's been a great experiment working with hybrid, but, we're hearing from the public that we really need to have somebody in-house available for office hours and available for these meetings, and now we're gonna go in a different direction, and then we've signed a contract and spent money
How much?
again.
Okay, so
How
we,
much money?
I believe it's 38,000.
so also, one other thing you do though, when Hybrid's contract comes up, when you negotiate, you could negotiate for him to be here at those meetings and that kind of thing. I mean, remember, when you did negotiate his contract, it was kind of in a big hurry because.
And it was
we
a
had no building
piggyback.
official.
Right.
So, let's remember that.
Yes.
These are things, unfortunately, they were not in here, so, but going forward, it seems like the consensus to me is that we want to retain what we have now. And I would suggest that the next time we discuss this, we create the dates for the workshop. You create basically an outline of how you're going to go forward with not only Hybrid, when's their contract due, when is their clerk going to start, what are we doing with the software, and a whole outline so we can actually see and what the costs are associated with. And then we can make a decision. But at least I can see why you asked the question. All right. Okay, public comment.
Charles Kittler, 35 Hersey Drive. About 13 years ago, my wife and I started a project here in Ocean Ridge. And Hybrid was the sole inspector. It went very smooth. We had no problems. I got along with the guys. It took a number of years to get it all put together and through, but Hybrid worked fine. Then along came this building official, and we were already built. But I saw the problems and the difficulties that went on in this town, and let me tell you, when a building official comes and he's got to have a police officer there, call up the police officer because he's having difficulties, something's wrong. I agree with the mayor, we need to keep our current plan. 6 months to a year from now, when the recession hits, what's going to happen with the loudest building in this town? Please, people, keep it the way it is. We're making this big hoorah about really nothing. I agree with the mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Stella?
Hi, I also agree with Jeff, and I appreciate, Ken, the explanation that she gave, because I really didn't understand it, so I do appreciate that. But he's right. You're right. I'm here 23 years. Only in the last 7 years since we've had a building official, before we used to go through Karen and through Hybrid, there was never an issue. I come to these meetings, I'm very involved in the town, I talk to a lot of people. This has been a nightmare. Not only was it a nightmare for our residents, it was a nightmare for the council. The council was fighting with each other. The council was fighting with the town manager. Let's not reinvent the wheel. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Nicholas Ashsadi, 6017 Old Ocean. One comment, I agree, this is such a small town, I don't believe we do need to have building officials and anything like that. There's not really another project. And I agree with Ken that we gotta have some justification for what really we want to do here. We gotta really study it, we gotta investigate it, we gotta know if joining another municipality is for the benefit of the town, maybe do it. I remember 25 years ago, I got my first permit from the Palm County, and I had a lot of issues. But some municipality maybe closing, maybe that would be helpful. It's just they do have a building official, and you can look over several small towns.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Carol Bessler, 5906 Old Ocean. I just have two questions or a comment. What happens if Hybrid decides that they don't want to renew the contract with Ocean Ridge? I'm guessing we go to another outside firm. I was very happy with having an outside firm, so I just want to make that clear. And with software becoming obsolete every 5 minutes, will the new firm, or are there some guarantees that the software that we're paying $38,000 for will be able to be used with a new firm, or does it become obsolete in the meantime?
Right, that's a very good update.
Thank you.
The new software, BSNA does monthly updates to all of their software, to all of their modules. So it is constantly updating. That is one of the nice benefits of the software. And as long as we are retaining the building department internally and we're not contracting with another municipality, the software, the community development software, will be usable no matter who we contract with, because you'll be signing on through a cloud system to be able to do any of the inspections, to do all the approvals, everything like that.
Any other public comment?
Polly Jo at 35 Percy. I only have a comment on the interlocal agreement, if that would be possible. It would be my concern that we would always be second position with another community. And if they got busy, we would get shuffled to the bottom. So we like hybrid.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comment? All right, thank you. No more other discussion from the commission? All right. Thank you. All right, moving on to discussion regarding the request to implement a local visual artist program at Town Hall.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In late October, I was contacted by Ocean Ridge resident Patricia McGuire to discuss the possibility of local visual artists having the opportunity to display their artwork in Town Hall. Some of the details that were discussed that were, if this were to take place, which has historically happened in the past, the artists could display their pieces for viewing, and that the contact information would be available if a visitor were interested in purchasing the piece. As this type of rotating art display is common in many communities and businesses, the request appears to be beneficial to both the town and artists. The town would be able to freshen the interior look of Town Hall by having new, unique pieces of art displayed for a set period of time. We could do quarterly, biannually, that would yet to be determined, and promoting our local artists. The artists would benefit by having a new venue to display their artwork and exposure to potential clients for their work. If the commission is agreeable to reestablishing a local visual artist rotating art display, I will work with the town attorney and local artists to develop proper guidelines for the program for final approval. I said January 2024, but I think that's probably going to be a little ambitious at this point for me to be able to have it ready the first week of January, so either January or February of 2024.
Mr. Collins?
Yeah. Yeah, I know, I think it was Jerry Lauer and a few other people were studying what's up there, and a lot of that's historic. So what I would suggest is, rather than replace that with art, take that and make a panel someplace, so it's all in one spot. So you can sort of read the history of Ocean Ridge photographically in one panel. And the other question I had is, what is the definition of local artist?
That would be something that would have to be defined in the guidelines. We could say it must be an Ocean Ridge resident, either part-time or full-time, must reside in the town of Ocean Ridge or have resided in Ocean Ridge in the last 10 years.
So it's something you're gonna.
So that's something that would come back in those guidelines. Right.
Okay.
Public comment? That was quick. You know, we used to have all the old commissioner photos.
Headshots. Carol Vessler, 5906 Old Ocean. I'm also the chairperson of Starbright.
when, just to give you some historical perspective, when this germ of the idea was batted around in very casual discussion between some commissioners and Starbright board members, of which Patty McGuire is a board member. Historically, it was supposed to be a win-win, as Lynn has pointed out. We wanted to make the town a little bit more interesting, change it up a little bit, and give our local artists, and by local, we meant town residents. This was just going to be another venue for residents in Ocean Ridge, artists in Ocean Ridge, to have some say and some exposure. What's happened in the meantime is that Patty McGuire is going through some very serious illness in her family. And although she wants to stay as chairperson of this with Starbright, Starbright will also appoint a co-chair to work with her and with Lynn and with the town attorney to establish some rules and regulations of what you guys would like to see happen. But I agree, Steve, that we should leave our historical perspective, maybe in another venue, but we'll leave that up to the artist. But in the meantime, Starbright will have Patty McGuire and someone else from the Starbright organization that will be appointed as co-chairs for this project, if you want to move through with it. Thank you.
Thank you. Ready?
Several of the pictures up there were given to Gail when she did her book. Ann Barrett remember Ann Barrett?
I know.
Ann Barrett took several of those pictures, and I will try and find the pictures, the names of the people in the old town hall are on the back of that picture, and other identifications are on them. But I think we ought to try and preserve the ones. Go back and forth. Ken knows Ann. Did you know Ann Barrett?
No.
Very few people know who I'm talking about.
Thank you, Betty. Anyone else? All right, back to the commission.
You know, we've done this before.
Yes.
You do know, right?
Well, that's why we have these things hanging up all over.
Right, exactly. So we went through all this, we went through the policies, we had all that defined. And we can't find any of that information. We had contracts, we did everything.
You didn't save your notes?
Yeah, I guess not.
Yeah.
But,
It's,
I can't understand why we don't have them somewhere.
A lot of that information is currently still out being scanned by Laserfish. So once all of the historical documents come back, we should be able to find some of that. But right now, the only thing we were.
2010 was right after we opened this building.
Right, but right now, the only information we've received back from Laserfish that has been scanned, indexed, and keyword search prepared is our building files, and we're still cleaning some of that up.
Yeah, so maybe Chris, can you call Lewis Longman and see if they still have the file and see if they have those contracts in their data bank? Because we had everything. We had licenses, we had the indemnifications, we had the insurance requirements, we had the policies because there was a concern of what type of art was gonna go on, because we had freedom of expression, because this is a public domain, a public building. We went through all of that. And then I don't know why it stopped. I don't know what happened in the past 6-7 years that it stopped. I mean, everything, we had art all around the place.
Yep.
And it would rotate, and they would sell it, and they would put up replacements. Something happened.
That's
Does
why
anybody know what happened?
No, that's why we were getting it going
This
again.
is just the oddest thing.
It's a mystery.
Yeah.
Okay, do you need a vote on that, or you have consensus?
And I have consensus on how to move forward.
All right, town manager report.
Right, November flew by and we are into December. I want to thank everybody that came out Friday for Light the Lights. I think, as everyone has said earlier this evening, that it was a great evening and people had a lot of fun. Though I've been out of the office for a considerable amount of November, operations have continued to run smoothly, which is the sign of a well-trained staff that enjoys their work. And I want to thank all of the employees. for all of their support of me during this time. I'm just waiting on the doctor to authorize me to come back to work at least part-time, and then I will be back in the office. We welcomed 3 new employees in November. We met Shay Delva at the November meeting, and we met Nayron and Christina this evening. Hope everybody, when you see them, you'll extend them a sincere welcome. And I want to wish everybody a belated happy Thanksgiving and a upcoming Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and Happy New Year. I look forward to seeing everybody in 2024 and having another great year. Just as a follow-up to item 7 that was removed, the ARPA grant projects and bids. The reason we're not ready for a policy decision on that is it appears that we will be rejecting the 2 bids that we did receive based on them being unbalanced. Being unbalanced means our low bidder was at 1.3 million, our high bidder was at 2.8 million. With such a significant spread like that, that's considered an unbalanced bid with no bids in between to let us verify where the market actually is for that project. What we will be bringing forward for the commission is alternative options, which could include rebidding, reducing the size of the project, checking with other communities to see if there is a contract we can piggyback on. And at that time, hopefully at the January meeting, the commission can make a decision on how we're going to proceed. I don't see this as having kicked the can down the road. I had someone ask me that. I truly believe that with the bid that we had 4 bidders at our pre-bid meeting, 2 of them that we have spoken to that were not able to bid. One was simply not able to put it together by the deadline. The other one, our construction timeframe didn't meet theirs. So if we do end up rebidding this project, I think we will get more bids and also give us an opportunity to speak to some other contractors in the area to see if they would be willing to bid as well.
I have one question.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Does the ARPA money have an expiration date?
It does, but I believe it's sometime in 2025 or 2026 that you have to start spending it.
Start.
All right. Thank you. Madam Attorney?
No report, thank you.
Thank you. Chief?
My report's in your package. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Any questions for the chief? Thank you, Chief.
I do have one thing. We've had 100% success on our crime rate. We've had through our FLOC system, our LPR system, we've had a couple of crimes of opportunity and construction crimes within an hour. We've had suspects, we've made arrests on 100% of them. Crime rate is at an all-time low right now, so happy to report that through proactive policing and the FLOC system, the LPR system has really helped us.
Cool. Good deal. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Hopefully you gotta speak louder than a microphone though next time. So everybody can hear you say the crime's at an all-time low. I mean, say that really loud. Thank you, Chief. All right, so moving on to Commissioner Cassidy, miscellaneous comments.
Okay, thank you. Lynn and I just attended the League of Cities Legislative Conference in Orlando last week, which was very interesting. I sit on the Utilities, Natural Resources, and Public Works Policy Committee, and one of the initiatives that we as a group have voted to push this year is for the ratification of the Clean Waterways Act. Apparently, the state's stormwater rules are vastly outdated. They're about 50 years old. And so we voted for ratification of this legislation, and we're all going to be lobbying our legislators for that. Unfortunately, developers are very much against it. They want to weaken or not ratify or weaken the legislation as it's proposed right now. So that's what's going on in that, with that. And I wanted to see if we could ask for sort of a formal review of our rules of decorum and engagement in meetings. We have, since the spring, we've been sort of allowing some public dialogue when people come up for public comment. And And as I said in the spring, I think it's important if it's something easy or something that warrants a conversation to have some dialogue. If it's not, we put it on the agenda for the next month. But the rules as they stand, so to speak, are kind of draconian.
Yeah, I'm a fan of looking into this. You're ignoring the rules, which makes us a much better community meeting. You can ask questions, you can get answers. However, we do have that piece of paper that's laying there. I would volunteer, since I wrote the piece of paper, I'll volunteer to write a new one.
Okay,
It'll probably be 3 or 4 sentences.
great.
Sure.
Okay.
Are you saying I'm ignoring the rules?
Misremembering.
Remember ignoring.
And one more thing.
Go ahead.
Just to follow up to the conversation last month about the FEMA maps. I did have lengthy conversations with 2 individuals at the county. Paul Linton, who's the Water Resources Manager for Palm Beach County, and Doug Wise. And apparently, they're in the middle of this scientific review panel for the 2019 preliminary maps. And the bottom line is, if we're enforcing those maps, we're breaking the law. So the 2017 maps stand as they are. So my suggestion is that we repeal ordinance 2020-07 and put the 2017 map back on the website. The 2019 map on the website right now, by the way, you can't even scroll higher than Inlet K. It doesn't go to North End.
Christie, you get that?
Yes.
Okay.
Is there a direction to proceed with repealing it?
You gotta speak up a little bit.
Is there direction to proceed with repealing 2020-07 from the whole commission?
Well, how about direction to bring it back to us next meeting, explain to us pretty much what Commissioner Cassidy is referring to.
Oh,
Right?
Is there anything in there that you don't want to repeal?
Yeah,
We just want to change it.
okay, will do.
thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Steve, you're up.
No,
Oh, no, sorry, it was Phil. You're up. I'm sorry, Phil.
Well, it's been a pleasure to serve the residents of Ocean Ridge. The commissioners you have here today have heard the concerns of the residents and have addressed those concerns in a professional manner. The resumes received for the 2 open spots on the commission were all impressive and shows both the residents and the commissioners are now on the right track. I wish the 3 current and 2 appointed commissioners and the residents a great life while living in paradise. Thank you for the opportunity to serve you.
Thank you, Phil. All right, anything else? Well, thank you, everybody, for coming, and Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.
You're right. Excellent.